Yo, what's going on, man? Today is April the 11th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show. I'm live on Twitter right now. I'm also live on YouTube as well. I did a breakdown for the show for the two games that we had yesterday. For the two games that we have tonight, I did a breakdown, kind of breaking down each game yesterday, and I talked about not really having a lot of player props that I like. So I did kind of go back in and kind of evaluate the player prop market to see if there was anything that I absolutely love that I wanted to be able to share with you guys. So for the purposes of this show, I really won't go too much into depth about the game yesterday because I feel like too much into the games today because I kind of feel like I did a really good job of kind of breaking it down. If you weren't able to catch the show live yesterday, it's always recorded. So my thoughts on the game haven't changed. We haven't gotten any kind of injury news. I haven't read anything that makes me want to change drastically on a side or a total looking at the teams. Excuse me. Yesterday I did, however, and I'm just jump right into it. I'm talking about let me go into the game. So I'm talking about the specifically the Heat and the Hawks, right? Yesterday the spread was 5. It come down to 4.5 at some books. Now it's back up to 5 at all books. I said that I thought it would probably close around 4.5. And the market's kind of going the opposite way. So now those 4.5s that we saw yesterday are back up to 5s. But it doesn't look like there are too many 5.5s. I think I did see a 5.5 when I was looking earlier on BetMGM, I want to say. But other than that, it's pretty much 5s all across the board. The total had come down. It looked like it's being bet back up as well. It was down to 226.5, which is what you guys see on the screen. I'll update it. Looks like it's 227, pretty much at every single book, 227.5. So I'll make that 227.5. Of course, in the playoffs, every single point matters when we're looking at a total, when we're looking at a side, everything kind of taken into consideration. So I won't bore you guys and give you guys my breakdown of the game. Yesterday, I talked about not having an official play on the game either, and I still don't. A couple people reached out from the members only chat and was like, Chris, I haven't gotten anything yet. And it's because I haven't posted anything. I figured out how to post the plays, but I'm not into forcing things. And for me, the way I kind of handicap this Hawks and Heat game, it could kind of go either way. And for a lot of different reasons. Like I said, I won't get into a full breakdown, but this Hawks team is extremely inconsistent, specifically on the defensive end. They've been one of the better offensive teams, one of the worst defensive teams, and the Heat have been extremely inconsistent. But we know the potential that they have. Heat have really, slowed down defensively a lot. They've been kind of relying a little bit more upon their offense over the last 10, 15 games of the season. So for those reasons, I don't want to force a play on a side. I talked about the strongest look that I had for this game yesterday being the Hawks plus the 5. It does feel like a game that if the Heat win, the Hawks can kind of keep close. Maybe they lose by a bucket or two. If not, outright win the game. But I can't trust their defense, specifically on the road. So I don't want to take the points with the Hawks. I also don't want to lay the points with the Heat, even though I feel like the Heat could win this game and cover by accident. They could cover, such a small number. So as far as the side goes, no official play for me. I do think that, and I will be making sure I do this for you guys, for the members, all the members, the members of the ChrisBeCappinn community tier will have access to all of the live plays that I give. If I give a live play, it'll be at the end of a quarter. It'll be at the end of the half. And that goes for all the games, not just today, but it goes for all the games, all the NBA games, for the play-in, for the playoffs moving forward as well. Excuse me. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to do so or reach out if you guys have questions about that. And while I'm on that, shout out to the new members. I see a couple people join. So shout out to you guys as well. I definitely appreciate you guys. I'm Jokanchim, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm probably butchered that, and if I did, I apologize. And then Kenneth as well. Appreciate you guys for joining. What's up to Ryan? Prolific in the chat. Captain Zach is in the chat. JC is in the chat. Amos is in the chat. What's up, Barksdale? Let's see. So I want to go back into the game. And Cap Jack said 73 people liking. I see 78. And we should have 70 likes. I agree with that. I do have the link to become a member. just shoot me a DM. It's also in the link tree on my Twitter page if you guys want to click on that. It's pretty easily accessible. It's the first link in the link tree. It says join the ChrisBeCappinn community on via YouTube. So it's not subscribing, it's joining. It's two different things. But shoot me a DM and we'll talk more about that. If you guys are interested, I can help people get through that. But now let's kind of go through some. I want to talk about the player props that are available in this game. So yesterday I mentioned this, and I think this is interesting for anybody who likes to play a lot of totals, like to play a lot of overs. Excuse me. And don't really like to looking towards the unders. This is the time that your heart can be ripped apart because playoff basketball typically has a lot of unders, and games typically stay under in the second half. You typically see a little bit more offense in the first half, and then teams kind of adjust to what's been successful against them. Let's see. Excuse me. Can you guys hear me on Twitter now? Am I better now, DJ Props? Sounds like people said that they couldn't hear me on Twitter. I'm not muted, so I'm not 100% sure why you guys can't hear me. Somebody let me know if they can hear me on Twitter. Shout out to my guy Sid for becoming a member as well. Ali said your Twitter sound isn't working, Chris. I'm not sure why it isn't working. Let's see. Man, the technical difficulties. The books don't want us to cash today. The books do not want us to cash today. I'm not 100% sure why. Let's see. I'm not connected to anything. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why. I'm not 100% sure why. Let me know if you guys can hear me on Twitter now, though. I'm not sure. I'm not muted on Twitter right now. I'm looking at it right now. It wasn't muted. Not 100% sure why it's doing that. I actually have no idea why it's doing that. Can anyone hear me on Twitter now? If not, no sound still. I'm not 100% sure why. Let me disconnect from the Wi-Fi. Maybe that's tripping. Maybe that's bugging. What about now? Can anybody hear me now? If not, I may have to shut down the Twitter and open it back up because I'm not 100% sure why you guys can't hear me. Mute button working? Nah, I can't hear you. It's no sound on Twitter. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why. I think it's probably Twitter. And if I leave it and open it back up, I don't think that's going to work either. But I can try. I'll try to exit that out. Let me see if that works. I think it's Twitter because I got really good Wi-Fi where I'm at right now, which is where I typically am. But let's see what happens if I shut it down and open it back up. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Like I said, not 100% sure why this is happening. Let's see if we can start it back up. So if you're watching on YouTube, I just created a new Twitter Spaces. See if this one is working. Can you guys hear me now? If you guys are on Twitter, let me know. Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay, so it sounds like you guys can't hear me now. Okay, yeah, I told you it's not me. It was Twitter that was bugging, but I appreciate the responses, all the thumbs up, all the emojis. Appreciate you guys. So I guess I'll wait till the space fills back up just a tad bit. I think it was about 130, 140 people back. So hopefully, if people want to join, they can kind of pop back in. And I guess that's the benefit of watching on YouTube as well. Guess that's one of the benefits, man. Patrick said it's Elon who did it, man, but I won't get into any of the politics of Twitter. We'll let that be. Excuse me. All right, so as the room kind of fills back up, like I said, I wanted to kind of look at some of these player props. We talked about some yesterday. Lockdown came in yesterday. He talked about how much he liked Jimmy threes. He said that they were going to be juiced today, and they are. Jimmy Butler 3-pointers at 0.35. And he's been cashing that in the playoffs. If you guys go back and check his game log, we know that playoff Jimmy is a tad bit different. So Jimmy threes were mentioned yesterday. Jimmy two plus steals were mentioned as well. So for Jimmy to get two steals, I think was close to even money. Even money on some books, very close to even money on other books. Lockdown also mentioned Jimmy one steal plus DeJounte Murray one steal, using that as a you could parlay those two things together, depending on the sports book that you're using. And then Dream had a really interesting look on Trae Young to go under his 24 and a half points, which I also like as well. As long as Trae Young doesn't get extremely hot, I think that he could stay under the 24 and a half as well. That was Dream's looks yesterday. And then Canadian Cam talked about really liking Trae Young assists. They're probably going to trap him. And if you like his assists, you probably also want to play his double double, just because he probably will get to 10 points most likely. And the double double probably has more return than the actual just his assist going over. So if you like Trae Young assists and you think that he's gonna make the right play with the ball, because they have trapped him before, and that's been pretty successful, getting the ball out of his hands in the playoffs and making the other guys beat him. Guys like Sadiq Bey, guys like DeAndre Hunter, guys like John Collins, those guys, making those guys beat him. DeJounte Murray is going to be, I think, a pivotal role in this game. And when Dream talked about yesterday about Trae Young going under, I thought it was a perfect pivot to Trae Young actually going over. I'm sorry, with Trae Young going under, I thought it was a perfect pivot to DeJounte Murray actually going over. So I looked a little more into it, still didn't pull the trigger. DeJounte Murray points prop is sitting at 19 and a half. I think that has really good, I think it's some really good value there. But the one thing I talked about yesterday is everyone is going to look for the overs to hit. But last year in the play-ins, of the 6 games that happened, all 6 went under, and they went under by an average of 9.5 points. So it's a sense of desperation that comes with being in the playoffs. I also think that this total goes over. I lean towards the over. Haven't played it officially. If I do ever get there, I will put that in the community page, on the community page as well, and give that to all the all of my subscribers. But I couldn't quite get there. 227 and a half does feel like a low number just based on the way that these teams have been playing recently. Miami defense is in the bottom half of the league. They're not top 15 over the last 3 weeks. Atlanta, like I said, bottom 5 defensive team as well. So one of the best looks in this game could be Miami team total to go over as well. I think I looked at it earlier, and Miami's team total was sitting at 116. So the books are, saying that Miami should be able to score in this game because Atlanta doesn't play a lot of defense. So, those are my thoughts around just some of the player props. I also thought that we may be able to see some value. One thing I looked a little deeper into was Jimmy Butler assists, because in my mind, the way my mind works is that since Quinn Snyder got the job, they have not been a solid defensive team. They weren't a solid defensive team under Nate McMillan, but at least they tried a little bit harder. If you look at the Atlanta Hawks offense, it's actually gotten better since Quinn Snyder has gotten there, and really no surprise, at least on my part, from me at all, just because Quinn Snyder is an offensive minded coach. We saw it last year when he was with Utah. They scored a lot of points until the playoffs came, and they actually had to play against a defensive minded team in the Dallas Mavericks, and Dallas were able to go out there and kind of shut them down. So how that relates to this game, to me, it kind of feels like since Jimmy Butler has had so much success against the Atlanta Hawks that they may double team Jimmy. If they double team Jimmy, he's a willing passer. The Miami Heat have a lot of capable knockdown shooters, and some of those 3-point shooters are actually starting to catch rhythm and shoot the ball well. We know role players play better at home than they do on the road. So if guys like Strus and Vincent and Duncan Robinson probably won't see the floor, but Tyler Hero, guys like Victor Oladipo started to knock down some of those shots, it wouldn't surprise me much being that Atlanta is not a solid defensive team. So if Jimmy gets doubled, then I think his assists are in play. The problem with Jimmy assists is we're not getting any kind of a discount because they're already at 6.5. So you look back at Jimmy's game log, the last 2 times that he played him this season, he did have 7 assists and 9 assists. So 2 two games in a row he's gone over this 6.5 assist number. The two earlier games this season, he didn't really do much at all. But we know Jimmy typically saves his best basketball for the end of the season. So I guess if I had a lean, I would still look towards Jimmy assist to go over. A couple of the things that I looked at were just one more thing that I looked at was just his overall assist numbers this season against Atlanta altogether. So he's averaging 6.3 across 3 games that he did play against them, and on 11 assists, potential assists per game. So a lot of the times when Jimmy's making the pass, it's to a wide open shooter. To me, it still feels like he can kind of get to that assist number, but I would really like to catch it at 5.5. And I didn't get it at 5.5, so I'm probably just going to stay off of it altogether. But a lean towards Jimmy Butler to go over his 6.5 assists, just because I do feel like, in the playoffs, teams are going to have to do something different. And if you've been beating me every single time that I played against you by scoring, then I'm gonna make you a facilitator. We saw it last year in game 1 of the actual NBA finals with Jason Tatum. His assist ladder cashed in game 1. I think he had double digit assists, and this assist was sitting at 5.5. So that's where you have to think outside the box and not just automatically take somebody points over. I'm not saying that Jimmy can't go off offensively, but what I am saying is, I would start to look more towards Jimmy assists, because Atlanta's defense is pretty bad. If they send a double at Jimmy, then there's going to be a lot of opportunity for him to go over this 6.5 assists, something that he's cashed, a couple times in a row. The next player prop I want to talk about just a tad bit is, and Cam said he took Jimmy's points and assists to avoid the juice. It's set at 34.5. Ali says she likes DJ Prop's look, and I didn't even see what he put. What did he say? Versus Minnesota. Love AD 2 blocks. Okay, so we're gonna get to that game in a second. Another player prop that I was looking at was Bam. Bam, and I was also looking at Clint Capella. Two guys that have kind of dominated this season series. If you look at their numbers, Bam, I think, is 3-1 to the number. The times that he's gone over the 19.5 points, I know he had 30 in one game, close to 30 in another game. And then he had 20 on the dot, I think, in one game as well. In one game, I think he went under. So I think he did play all 4 games. You look at Atlanta, they are giving up a lot of points in the paint. They're not a team that can protect the rim once you pull Clint Capella outside of the paint. And we know that Spoelstra can be a mastermind on the defensive end. So I think that there are ways for Bam to be effective on the offensive end. I think that we could see a double on Bam as well, and that could lean towards Bam's assist to actually go over. But Miami's a really difficult team to cap from a player prop perspective, which is why I'm not betting any of this. I'm just kind of sharing my research and analysis with you guys. What Spoelstra has done to Atlanta over the last 7 times that he's played them has been really, really good. Like so I got season series 0-7. Atlanta hasn't won a game in the last 7 tries when they played against the Heat. Only 2-5 against the spread as well since the start of last season, including the playoffs. This season 0-3 straight up, but they are 2-1 against the spread in those 3 games this season. Covering the first game, I think, not covering the second one. Or no, they covered the last one, didn't cover the first one. So one of those games were without Jimmy Butler as well. One of the 3. I think it was the first one this season. So everything that I just said, I think that even though I think the game still could potentially go under, I do like some overs. I like Bam to go I like Clint Capella more so, because I feel like we're getting a little bit more value with him to go over on his points at 9.5. I didn't play that officially. I talked about Jimmy Butler. Assist lean look as a lean as well. I think he could go over that 6.5 number if the double team comes from the Atlanta Hawks in this one. Excuse me. And the other look, I think I would have to agree with what Dream said yesterday. I think Trae Young could go under his 24.5 points in this one if they trap him and he makes the right decision to get the ball out of his hands and let them play 5-on-4 otherwise. So those would be my top looks for how I kind of see the game going. As far as the side, like I said, I think Atlanta is catching too many points, but they don't play enough defense for me to want to back them on the road. So I can't take the points with Atlanta because I think the Heat could hit a couple free throws late and win this game by 6 or 7 points. So for that reason, I'm not going to take the points with the Hawks. If the Hawks get hot and the Heat aren't making their 3-point shots, then the Hawks can win this game. Like I think there's also a version that's also possible is the Hawks could get hot and win this game as well. So the one thing that they have this year that they didn't have last year is DeJounte Murray. And you could say, well, Chris, they had DeJounte Murray in the first few games, but they lost. The more and more times you play a team, the more and more difficult it is for that team to continue to beat you over and over again. I think Atlanta's going to be fired up for this game, but I kind of feel like I want to take a live line. So I'm not betting the side. As far as the total, a lean towards the over. I think the game slows down at the end. So if that's the case, I think you probably want to look towards a first half over. Just because the game can slow down late. We could also see free throws as well late in the game, which could also, make this total kind of go over. It looks like right now both teams team total. So Miami team total is 116.5 and Atlanta's team total is 111.5. The way Atlanta's been playing defense, the Hawks should be able to score 116. And the way that Miami's been playing defense, Atlanta should be able to get to 111 as well. Like I said, the first half numbers is when the games are typically going a little bit faster. And that's why I would more so probably look towards a first half over than the full game to go over. And the first half number is 116.5. So you're looking at about, what is that? 60 to 57, 56.5 to 60, something like that. And to me, that kind of feels doable. It kind of feels doable in this game. So lean towards the over. First half. 116.5. No, I'm sorry. Definitely not right. Yeah, no, it is 116.5. 116.5 is the lean that I would have on the total to go over in the first half. Both teams, combined. And then I would also lean towards DeJounte to go over his points prop, Jimmy Butler to go over his assist prop at 6.5, and Bam to go over his 9.5 points. Also, what Dream talked about yesterday, Trae Young going under his 24.5 points if the double team does come from Spoelstra and the guys. So those are my thoughts on the first game. The second game, I'll tell you guys this. So let me transition banner wise. So it's easier to kind of follow. So the spread that you guys see right now on the screen is 7.5. This spread has gone up. This is the same banner I had from yesterday. So let me change it real quick. The Lakers are now favored by 8.5 to win this game. The total has gone up from the 231 that you guys saw to 233 now. So, of course, we got the news yesterday. We already had the news. We just got more money coming in on the Lakers for them to win this game by margin. If you take this team to win by 8.5, then you're really predicting a double-digit win because you don't want it to be so close that they win by 9 and you're sweating late. The total continues to go up without Rudy Gobert, thinking that these guys are going to play with just a tad bit more pace. What I'll say about that is the Timberwolves haven't played a game. They've only played one game without Rudy Gobert post All-Star break. He's only missed one game. And I think that's important to take into your handicap because while they have been playing extremely well throughout the season without Rudy Gobert, let's see. I got the Timberwolves without Rudy Gobert this season, 8-4 straight up, 9-3-1 against the spread. That's a really good record, winning games by about 5 points. Those games are also averaging about 237 points. And although they are 7-5 to the under in that spot because those totals were about 235. So that's what Rudy Gobert not in. But like I said, after the All-Star break, we got to take that into consideration because we know that Karl-Anthony Towns came back and he improved that offense, a lot. Defensively, maybe not so much. They played one game without Rudy Gobert. It was against the Warriors after the All-Star break, and they lost that game 109 to 109, 109 to 104. That was the game that was played in Golden State. They had a big lead in that game as well before they just laid an egg in the fourth quarter, only scored 17 points and gave up 34 points to lose the game by 5 points. So they still play well defensively against a really good offensive team. Uh, Golden State's offense, of course, is nothing like the Lakers' offense from the standpoint of how they get their points and where their impact players are on the floor. Of course, that team is led by one of the greatest point guards of all time, whereas the Lakers have Anthony Davis, one of the better power forwards or centers in the league right now, and LeBron James. So it's going to look a tad bit different. What I'll say about this game is, and I was just kind of going through this in my head, right? Watching so many Laker games for so many years. The one thing that really stuck out to me when I was evaluating the player props, I won't break down the side because I'm not laying 8.5 points with the Lakers. I think that's way too many points. I think the Timberwolves can keep this game close, even though they're just a real gritty team. So I don't want to bet against the Timberwolves that they'll lose the game by margin. Could it happen? It could. I'm not doing that. I'm also not taking the points with them because the Lakers could start to pull away late. So if you're laying a big number if you're just now trying to get in on the Lakers right now. As far as the total goes, I'll address that in a second. But I want to get to the player props. So the player prop that I was looking at in this game, and I feel like there's a lot of value on this, so much value that it actually scares me. I was looking at Mike Conley. Mike Conley has been a Laker killer for a large portion of my life. It doesn't matter what team he's been on. It doesn't matter what coach he's been coached under. This guy just continuously plays extremely well against the Lakers, specifically when he's in LA. So he just had a game against us on March the 3rd. He shot 2 for 6 from 3. He shot 2 for 5 from 3 when he was in Utah in November. Before that, he also played the Lakers. He went 0 for 3, but before that, he went 5 for 9 and 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. So the 3-point shots have been there. Excuse me. Look at his game logs in general. I think his points prop was sitting at 14.5. He's been either right on that number or right over that number. So in the most recent game, he had 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. 14, 6, and 3. Also, I just kind of mentioned that game. 14 and 12 against the Lakers, 15 and 10 against the Lakers, 18 and 4 against the Lakers. Every single game he shot above 40% from the 3-point line, except the one game on March 3rd where he shot 2 for 6 and shot 33%. I'm not 100% sure why, but this dude just loves playing against the Lakers. He always tends to play well against us. He always tends to make a lot of 3-pointers against us. And his 3-point prop for today was 2.5. This morning, when I looked at it, it was plus 136. That's a lot of value. I think that if the Timberwolves are going to be able to keep this game close, it will be because they have to shoot the ball from the outside. A lot of teams aren't scoring a lot of points on the Lakers with Anthony Davis. They're not even attempting to score a lot of points on the Lakers with Anthony Davis. So I think, it's a lot of ball movement from Anthony Edwards. It's a lot of ball movement from a guy like Slow-Mo, Kyle Anderson. And the beneficiary of that is going to be a guy like Mike Conley. Right now, the 3-point prop that I just told you guys, I said it was plus 136. It's plus 132 for Mike Conley to hit 2.5 threes. I think there's some value in that. I think there's a lot of value on Mike Conley to go over the 2.5 3 number. And I think that's probably my favorite player prop that I've seen today of that game specifically. The Lakers are not a team right now where I feel like I can trust that one player will dominate all of the ball handling duties and the assist opportunities, because they have the likes of LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell, and Austin Reeves. Any of those guys could go from 5 assists to 9 assists, in my estimation, in a game like today. So I don't feel comfortable laying the number with any one of those guys. I don't know who's going to have the ball in their hand the most. I don't know what, Russell minutes are going to look like. I know that they're probably going to try to put him in a lot of pick and roll with Anthony Edwards, and Anthony Edwards is probably going to try to abuse him because he is smaller, probably try to take him in the post, because he is the weakest defender in the Lakers starting lineup. So I do expect Chris Finch to, probably try to take advantage of the matchup. So those are that's my number one thought. Of course, there's the super square plays, and square plays can hit in the playoffs as well. I'll just go over two of those. Anthony Davis, right? We talked about it yesterday. Rudy Gobert gets ruled out. You almost automatically have to think that the Lakers are going to force feed Anthony Davis the basketball and let him just go to work. And if he plays anywhere close to as aggressive as he has been recently, then that's going to draw a lot of double teams, and the Lakers should get a lot of wide open 3-point looks in this game. Anthony Davis should still be able to go over his points prop, his rebound prop. The Minnesota Timberwolves don't have another rebounder outside of Rudy Gobert that's going to be able to replace what Rudy Gobert does. Naz Reid, as we remember, is already hurt. He's going to miss probably the whole entire playoffs, I think. And you also without Jaden McDaniels, who can also rebound the ball as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Chris Finch kind of, what he does to kind of fill that void of not having Rudy Gobert in this game. So Anthony Davis, I think points plus rebounds is a square look that could absolutely cash. And in the first game, I didn't talk about this one before I kick it off to anybody else. If you guys got looks, got questions, send me a request and I'll get up as many people as I possibly can. The last thing I wanted to mention is Jimmy Butler, right? I think it goes without saying that he dominates the Miami Heat. I'm sorry, he dominates the Atlanta Hawks. He has. We know that Jimmy Butler is a different type animal. So I couldn't talk anybody off, looking towards Jimmy Butler to go over his points, rebounds, and assists. To me, I think the rebounds and assists is probably a better line, just because one thing we know about role players, and I said this early on the show, is that they typically play better on the road. They typically play better at home. So if, the Gabe Vincents and the Max Strus of the world, if they're making their shots tonight, it's not going to really surprise me. And the assists are going to come from Jimmy Butler. I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked the numbers, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy Butler is a much better rebounder in the playoffs as well than he is in the regular season, because he probably plays with a little bit more effort, a little bit more energy in the playoffs as well. So I think that Jimmy Butler rebound plus assist line is probably better than the PRA, but I couldn't talk anybody off. Jimmy points plus rebounds, Jimmy points plus rebounds and assists, or like I said, Anthony Davis points plus rebounds as well. So those would be the square looks that I think also, like I said, square looks, they cash as well. Couldn't talk anybody off for looking at, Jimmy rebounds plus assists, or Anthony Davis points plus rebounds in, some kind of square plays of the day that should probably cash. So that's what I got for you guys today. And that's pretty much everything that I have. Let me go back through the comment section real quick. I think I saw a couple things that I like that I wanted to share. So John Bell says AD 30-piece barbecue chicken versus Cat plus the win. He thinks that that's a lot. Frank said he's going with Trae Young under 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I couldn't talk you off of looking at that line as well. The under for Trae Young, in totality. What up to my guy Free Minds? Appreciate you, Free Minds, as well. I see you just became a member. Definitely appreciate that, bro. Grateful for people like you and others in the community, for showing that support. Tony said, I think both teams would rather face the Bucks first round than the Celtics. Yeah, I don't think you want to play the Celtics in the first round either. We'll get into that. I'll save my comments on the Celtics, but I'm high on the Celtics, real bullish on the Celtics. Ali says, what do we think about Hunter's value? His line is at 14.5. I didn't really look too much into it, Ali, so I don't want to give you, just my thoughts on it without having some statistical data to kind of back it. I would like to see how many shot attempts he's been getting recently. Kind of check his health. I feel like he's been in and out of the lineup as well. And maybe see if we have some quotes from him, seeing how big of a game, maybe he can kind of quantify how big of a game this is for him in this spot. Humble B said he's on the under for Trae Young PRA as well. Marquis said, what about Kyle Lowry over 7.5 points? I will say this, Marquis, that's a very, very low line for Kyle Lowry, who is another guy. I read a quote earlier that said that he was playing, say something along the lines, he was playing on one leg. We know that he lives for, when you're as old as Kyle Lowry is, I think he's like 37 years old. You kind of live for the playoffs. So if he goes over this number, it really wouldn't surprise me at all. If he comes out and looks extremely locked in, really wouldn't surprise me at all. They're probably going to put Trae Young on him just because he hasn't been much of an offensive threat, because you don't want to use DeJounte on him. So Kyle Lowry over 7.5 points could be a very, very sneaky look. But the reason why it's really difficult for me to play Miami Heat player props, especially points, is everybody numbers going to be sitting about the same. Everybody lines are going to be between 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, because they have so many boom or bust type players. That one of those guys could finish with 3, and it really doesn't make that much of a difference as long as another one of those guys has 16 or 17, right? So to me, I guess if I had to take a stab at it, I'll probably do a little bit more research. But I think Kyle Lowry could go over the 7.5 points in a game like today, where it has a lot of meaning for him. Trayvon said he likes the Lakers by 10 today. LeBron says game time decision. Yeah, I think LeBron will play. Appreciate you, Brian, for becoming a member as well. Coop says that he likes the Lakers plus 8.5 to keep it close. Might bet Lakers 1-10 since Lakers don't blow teams out. If not, Lakers will take them to Smack City. Yeah, I'm like I said, if you guys have joined to be a member, I will be watching these games. Well, at least my plan is, knock on wood, my plan is to watch both games throughout the entirety. And like I said, if there's a live bet that I like, I don't force bets, which is why I don't have anything for today. But if there is a bet that I absolutely love, it will be at the end of a quarter or at the end of a half, and I will post it in the community chat, so you guys will be able to see that, the ones who have access to it. Abacot said he likes LeBron over 6.5 assists, Capella 10.5 rebounds, and Butler over 6.5 assists. I like the Butler look. Didn't play it, but like it. Jay Fowle said Mike Conley gets 20 points and 3 threes, and that's plus 425. Okay. Scotty says, Chris, what are your thoughts on the Lakers team total over for the first half or full game? 62.5 for the first half and 121 for the full game. So what I will tell you about that, Scotty, I did do a little bit of research and a little bit of digging on that. The Lakers have been a relatively scoring machine recently. This team has really picked up their offense a lot. I think it's been pretty much ever since the addition of LeBron James coming back into the lineup. We know that for about what was it, about 3 weeks, the Lakers were without LeBron James, but Anthony Davis was carrying the team. And you saw all the unders happen for the Lakers. Then D'Angelo Russell came back, and the games were still going under, but the total started to go up a little bit because D'Angelo Russell was providing more offense, where the Lakers had to rely a lot more on their defense without D'Angelo Russell and without LeBron James. Since LeBron James has been back in the lineup, the Lakers, that has correlated to the Lakers going over their team total. And without Rudy Gobert, you don't have a lot of rim protection. So I don't know if the Timberwolves are going to play zone. I don't know if they're going to do a box and one on AD. I'm not sure how Coach Finch tries to draw up the defensive assignment tonight, but I do think that the Lakers team totals could be in play tonight. Absolutely, if you want to stay away from the spread. So one thing I want to look at real quick while I'm on that before I get to the request, and it's my guy Frag. So let me get Frag up. I want to look at LeBron game log really quickly just to see when he came back from the injury and see how many games he's played. So looks like he came back on March the 26th. So if you look at the Lakers, real quick, I'll do some quick math. So let's look at the Lakers after the All-Star break and before LeBron came back. So before March the 3rd, March the 26th. So the Lakers had played 15 games after the All-Star break, and they were 11-4 to the under before LeBron came back. 11-4 to the under. Games were going under by an average of 5 points per game. after LeBron came back, 7-0 to the over. So that's exactly what I mean, right? No LeBron, no LeBron games go under. LeBron in 7-0 to the over, and going over by average of 10 points. So Scotty, I couldn't talk you off. It looks like the Lakers are averaging about 61 points in the first half. The reason why I'll tell you that I'm not playing it is because I do think that the Timberwolves are being slightly undervalued here defensively. I know that the Lakers have AD. I know that they have Bron. I know that they should win this game, but I think it may be more of a defensive game than advertised. If this number was 59 and a half, 60 and a half, I would like it a lot more. But 62 and a half kind of feels like it's disrespectful towards the Timberwolves. So those are my thoughts. They have been scoring, but they're not averaging the 62 points that you would need in the first half post All-Star break with LeBron, if that makes sense. LA said Dennis Schroeder over 2.5 assists is plus 106. Has over 3 assists in 8 of his last 10, averaged 9 assists in 2 games against the Timberwolves in March. So some good analysis there. DJ Props and Anthony Davis only shot 37% versus Cat. I saw ESPN did a small segment on that earlier. Yeah, his defense is going to be tested today for sure. Malik said you like Cal Anderson rebounds and assists at 13 and a half. I think that could be a solid look, Malik. I hadn't really looked into Cal Anderson, but if people don't watch the Timberwolves, I don't think they understand the impact that Cal Anderson has on the game. He'll be asked to do a lot more without Rudy Gobert being there as well. So I'm pretty sure he plays, close to 35 plus minutes tonight. I think that he could get there on the rebounds plus assist line. Alex said like Jimmy Butler, points plus assists at 37 and 33 and a half. JC said he likes Caleb Martin points props. If you like him, I hope you cash him. Ryan Williams said 3 for Kevin Love. I'm not entirely sure how many minutes Kevin Love get. He's actually been kind of falling out of the rotation if you've been paying attention very, very closely, Ryan. They've been electing to go more offense, and his 3-point shot has not been falling since he joined the Miami Heat. So I'm not sure how many minutes he actually plays in this matchup. He does bring a lot of, playoff experience, and maybe supposed to keep him in and plays him a few more minutes because of that, but not 100% sure. Jay Fowle said Mike Conley averages 27.9 minutes when Gobert is not playing, which is 5.5% more minutes than his average. So he plays more when Gobert is out. Okay. Markel said Kyle Anderson double is plus 200 on FanDuel. Okay. Torian Prince 3 points made is over 1.5. I saw that line as well. I saw it juice though, Jeffrey. So I think the Timberwolves gonna have to stay at the game with their 3-point shooting. Anthony Edwards should be able to get to the rim, but I don't see a lot of those other guys getting to the rim. I think that they do it from the 3-point line. So, like I said, my favorite player prop would be looking at Mike Conley over 2.5 threes made. I think it's probably the best line, at least the one that I like the most and I feel the most confident in. But I didn't play it. I did not play it. If he starts, I think he will start, Jeffrey. I do think he'll start. So I appreciate all the interactions in the YouTube comment section, man. Appreciate everybody for hitting the like button and kind of showing support. Appreciate everybody who's joined as a member as well. Like I said, I'm not here to waste anybody's money. And if I give you guys something I want it to be something that I feel extremely, extremely confident in. And there's nothing on the board that I feel extremely confident in pre-game. So live, maybe, we'll get some better numbers. I kind of already know where I want to play things too. So if the opportunities present themselves, like I said, I'll share, but nothing official for me at all. At this time, I want to kind of open it up and kind of hear from some of my guys in the chat and see what everybody else is kind of on today. Fred, coming to you first, my guy. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Chris, what's going on, bro? It's been a minute, man. How you doing?
Yeah, it has been, Fred. How you been doing, bro? I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Chilling, man. I just been laying back, man. They had the bozos out there playing. Just fall back and just chill on that. I think last time I came up, it was like a 1-1 day. I think Chetty came through, and then Dean Wade, and then that was like the last time I had bet on the NBA. So trying to get back into planes. So I got a couple ones. These are all going to be half units, though. Just taking it easy. Big. Later the playoffs go, I'll probably up the units. you know, when the stakes get higher for these teams, which, I mean, the stakes are high, but still, and so, I see everybody on the Trae Young under, so I was looking as far as just like players who, you know, can benefit off of just Trae Young, you know, getting all the attention to him. And I just think, I think Saddiq Bey and Bogdanovich, man, I'm going both of them half a unit. I got Bey 9.5 minus 110, and then Bogdanovich 11.5 at minus 110. I think these lines are just too low as far as just. You know, Hawks struggle on the defensive end, so, you know, I feel like you're going to want your best scorers on the field or on the court, you know, at times. And, like, you know, these guys, John Collins and Hunter, I like these players, man, but they just kind of struggle against this matchup, especially John Collins, man. He just kind of, he's not really inside, and then he's not really outside, you know what I mean? He's kind of just stuck in the middle as far as, like, his game. He don't really have a fit. I don't know. I just think it's a bad matchup with him with Bam and just, you know, having to deal with Jimmy. And I think Bey and them could just, they could really just feed off of Trae Young and just, you know, getting the double and just, you're gonna want people that be able to knock down threes. And I think these two guys are, you know, prime spots. I mean, we know Miami gives up a lot of threes. These guys could cash, you know, maybe even in a quarter, you know, just depending on the minutes. They get an extended leash, you know, Hunter them maybe get in foul trouble or they're just not playing good. I think they could get yanked. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Quinn Snyder, I mean, he's been in playoff games. I think he'll, you know, he'll roll with what's working. If, you know, Bey goes out there, checks in, he hits 2 threes. I mean, he might play 30 minutes, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go with those two guys for half the unit.
Hey Frank, when we talk about gambling, I think you're doing exactly when you talk about rolling the dice. I think you're doing exactly what you should be doing tonight with those guys. Boom or bust type players. We, as you said, Bogdanovich's name. I was just thinking to myself. I mean, could he have 6 points tonight? Absolutely. But could he go off for like 19 and cover this line before, and you get to turn the game off at halftime? Absolutely as well, right? So I like it. And we've already heard the narratives of getting the ball out of Trae Young hands, something that's been successful for them last season. And if you have to do that, then why not, buy low on another guy that's going to get, a bunch of shots, right? I couldn't talk you off of either one of those guys to go over their points prop tonight. You said you got Bey at 9.5, right?
Yeah.
And you got Bogey at 11.5.
Yeah, those lines have moved. I think Bey like minus 145 now on the 9.5. So I mean, I beat the movement. I mean, I don't really say much, but I mean, I'll take the better odds. So.
Right. Yeah. A little CLV, but you don't want no CLV trophy. You trying to cash your bet.
Yes, man. I done threw 100 of them joints in the trash.
Right.
Never worked for me, man.
Right. Nah, you and me both, man. If the books had to refund me all my positive CLV money, I probably wouldn't have to gamble no more. So I feel you.
And it was just another thing on that, like on those plays. Like a lot of teams, Luka, as far as the Mavs, when people double him, and then Steph, they have decent guys that can play 4-on-3 on the back end. I feel like Atlanta don't really got those guys, so I feel like when Trae Young is gonna, get a ball up in those positions, I think it's just a catch and shoot type thing. I don't really think they're gonna give it to somebody that's gonna make a play for somebody else. You know what I mean? I think it's a Trae Young get it to somebody and he shoots it type. They don't really got a back end guy like a Draymond, Christian Wood. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like those are those are certain guys that are good on 4 and 3, and I just don't feel like Atlanta players fit that mold. I feel like they're just good catch and shoot guys.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, Rag. A lot of sense. So I looked up Saddiq Bey game log versus the Heat.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. So the second thing, then I went to Google and I just wanted to make sure he wasn't from Miami, because he played him like he from Miami every single game. Like, this is crazy. I had no idea. He's not from Atlanta, just so people know. He's from Charlotte, which, if you know anything about the East Coast, the southeast, then you know that Atlanta and Charlotte not too far away from each other at all. But Saddiq's from Charlotte, but if his points prop is at 9.5, 10.5, he's gone over that number 8 games in a row, dating all the way back to January the 18th, 2021, the last time he didn't cover that number. Now, of course, 6 of those times were with the Detroit Pistons, but he's also covered that number twice with 17 and 22 points against Miami as well, with 32 and 35 minutes as well. So I couldn't talk you off, right? You might have talked me on to a little sprinkle on Sadiq Bey, man.
Yeah, man. It's just I feel like it's a good spot as far as just, Miami. Just I feel like they're just gonna be all out on Trae Young, and I feel like that could be their demise, low key, as far as getting these other guys hot. And then once they get hot, it's like we keep doubling, or we can, it's just they gonna. I feel like they might be like, I don't know. I feel like it could be a. I feel like you don't come out doubling people. I never agreed with that. Obviously, he gets a couple going, then switch it up. But I hope they come out doubling shit. Help me out.
Yeah, you think we get the okey doke frat like Tyloo did the other day when he talked about he wasn't going to double AD?
Tyloo's a different beast. He's a different beast, man. He's a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame type yanking people's chains and shit.
Yeah. Okay. No, I like the looks. Right? You got anything for the last game, Fred? Anything you looking at in the Lakers game?
I had one more, and then I just had a question.
Yeah. What's up?
And then the last one is just half the unit. I'm just going 7.5 on Malik Beasley, man. I think, they brought him there to score. It's his old team. He had a pretty good game against Phoenix when they were kind of looking. I know they were playing against the B squad, but Lakers were, they were kind of struggling a little bit. He gave them that. Gave them that battery in their back as far as just, I think he ripped off like 3 threes in a row. So I think it's a good spot for him. He knows how Timberwolves defend, and I think he get 8 points. Honestly, that's what they brought him there for. So.
Okay, so Malik Beasley over the 7.5. I know it was a quote that came out where he said that he was extremely was looking really, really hard at this game and was extremely excited about playing in this game against his old team that got rid of him. I know, the revenge factor comes into mind here for sure. And if you think that they're going to be doubling AD, you do want to look at, some of these 3-point shooters to kind of be able to knock down their player props for sure.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm targeting all these buy low guys. I'm not like buy low, but I like these low lines in big games, man. The books are sharp. If you look at these lines, they're hanging on some of these superstars. Some of them, is decent, but some of them is just, kind of out of pocket. You're going to need like a nice game script. You need everything to go right. Make your free throws. You need, not foul trouble. You need this, that. So it's like, they're hanging, good lines. They're not really giving that discounts on some of these superstars, which, most of them should cash, but I kind of like to look at the value as far as like these low guys.
These role players, the role players. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't talk you off of that at all, right? I could not talk you off because if you're playing Jimmy Butler points and they're 27.5 and he finished with 25, 9, and 8, you're going to be frustrated with yourself because you played his points, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's the last guy I was looking at. I know it's a great map and matchup. He flips the switch, but man, Jimmy Butler, I can't.
Inflated, right? Lines inflated. The books know.
Inflated. Nobody talking about Tyler Hero. I know he's been stinking it up, but he could get 30. Atlanta don't play defense, but so.
That's a fact. And I heard that there were rumors going around that maybe DeJounte tries to guard Jimmy. Size wise, of course, Jimmy's a much stronger and probably just tries to take him into the post. But if that's the case, then who guards Tyler Hero? Like you said, right? So
he could, and he's kind of, he's this guy. He's been kind of slumming since he got paid. So he could definitely come out.
Yeah.
And then my question was just, I know if you haven't looked too much in the future about these games, but what were you thinking about? I just seen the Bulls and Raptors. The total, I think under 219. I think that's too high, man. These two teams, man. I think they might not score 100 each. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This might be an ugly one. You said
Bulls Raptors under 219.
Yeah.
So it dropped. It opened at 217. Or at least I see it at 217. It's down to 214.5. So money come in on the under. That's the one I missed the train on that. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one I kind of kicked myself because I saw it on Sunday when the line, when the last games came available, this line was already being posted as far as the total, and I said, man, 217 is a low total. But I didn't cap it immediately. By the time I looked at it, it was already down to 214.5. The money came in on it instantly. But I did my research on the total. I haven't played it. I don't necessarily want to don't feel like I would say this, like when I come on and I give out a total, typically I'm 95%, locked in, and I think that total is going to cash. And if it don't, I'm frustrated because I feel like I've, capped it really, really well and I like it. If I gave out the total to go under 214 and a half, I would say that I like it about 70%. So I still like it to go under. It's a do or die game for the Bulls and the Raptors. The loser goes home. Two of the slowest paced teams in the league. All three times that they played throughout the regular season, all three games have went under. The Bulls, what do they do best? They play defense. Toronto, what do they best? They play defense.
Toronto, man, I've been watching them. They can't make a 3-pointer to save them.
I was just about to say that too, right? So
threes, bro,
they
terrible.
they have their bottom three in effective field goal percentage as well. I know all this because I don't got my notes pulled up, but I remember like looking at all this and documenting all of it earlier. So do I think the total still goes under the 214? Most likely, yeah. Have I played it yet? Nah, I haven't. But we'll talk about that game tomorrow. But those are my initial thoughts, Greg. I'm definitely not playing it over, even with a low total like that.
Yeah, I think I gave out Raptors like a couple of days ago, and I was watching the game. I seen Scotty Barnes pull up from three. I just started the game. That shit was bad, bro. But I appreciate you having me up. Hope everybody has a good day, and just take it easy, man. Got a lot of playoff games, a lot of big games. Wait for these spots where a team might go down 2-0. Going back to crib must wins. Maybe up the units there. There's going to be certain spots where it's going to be back against the wall. You could definitely capitalize. You don't got to, force these sharp lines on some of these players and stuff. So, yeah.
That's a fact, Frank. I agree with all that, man. Definitely agree with all that. And it could be hard, right? Like if you don't have that discipline, you can force a play tonight, and then lose, and then kind of kick yourself that you lost when, like you said, it's a lot more meaningful basketball coming up.
Yeah, man, just definitely, if I could say one last thing, just, if anybody's gambling out there, I mean, obviously people are, but I've been gambling for a while, man. Just, if you lose, man, just don't, I've had a problem with, like, just as far as, like, when I win, I won't even be, like, that excited. I'll be more, mad about that I lost. So, like, just if you lose, just take it easy, man. It ain't that serious, you win some, you lose some. At the end of the day, just, have fun with it and just, just roll with the punches, man. You'll have a good day sooner or later. So just don't get into a hole. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't go chasing your losses. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's not a good place.
That's a fact, Frank. That is a fact, man. It can make gambling weak, right? Make it really, really whack if you go chasing your losses for sure. Frank dropping the knowledge, dropping the gems for y'all. Appreciate you, Frag, man. Always appreciate you coming on the show and dropping the looks, man. And they be cashing too. So appreciate my guy Frag. Game, I want to kick it to you next, man. What's going on? How you doing today?
Hey Chris, hey guys, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Fine, thank you. Everything's good. Preparing for the play-in and playoffs.
Oh yeah. What you liking today?
Today, I think we are aligned, Chris. I'm waiting for the lineup for the Heat. I'm in the Jimmy Butler assist over 6.5. I think if Kyle Lowry go to coming from the bench, I'm gonna be strong in that bet. I think I'm gonna put one unit. If he goes to the lineup with the starters, I'm going to half unit in that bet. I think Jimmy Butler is really, really, really dominant in this kind of playoffs and playing games. So I'm very confident he's gonna take this as it's over. On the other hand, I'm on the Anthony Davis points. I think Kat and Anthony Davis have some issues there because I'm just running some numbers, see some stats. He is averaging 30 points against Kat. So and also he got great numbers against the Wolves. This season he averaging 38 points in 2 games against them. So I'm really confident he's gonna take the points over. I took them 25.5. It's kind of juicy, but I put a unit on 25 in that bet. And also I make 2 plays for games for tomorrow. So if you aren't interested in them, go and check it out in my account.
Nice. Okay. So 2 plays for today game. Look like you on Jimmy assists, or you haven't taken it yet, but you like Jimmy assists, and you also like Anthony Davis to go over his 25.5 points.
Exactly, man.
Say it one more time.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
I like today.
Okay. Got it.
Like I said, I'm waiting for the lineup, the official lineup of the Heat.
Got you. Okay. So NBA Bet is the Twitter account that you guys can follow. I don't know if people following it or not, but it looks like the most bet props via DraftKings today are Anthony Davis over his 25.5 points, Trae Young under 37.5 PRA points, rebounds, and assists. Trae Young to go over 24.5 points is also being bet on. Clint Capella over 19.5 points plus rebounds, and Austin Reeves over 19.5 points plus assists is also on the table as the fifth most bet player prop today. So just so you guys know, just kind of sharing that just because I ran across it real quickly. Wanted to share that. Game, did you have anything else?
No, that's all, man.
Okay.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I appreciate you coming on and sharing the looks.
Thank you, bro.
Absolutely. Best of luck to you tonight, man. Anybody else got anything that they want to share before we wrap it up? If so, shoot me a request and I'll get you guys up. I'll get up a couple more people real quick, but if not, we can shut it down too. And I'll just reiterate this again, going over what I really love. What I really like, because like I said, I haven't placed any bets today. And I'll mention the live part again as well, the live betting opportunities. Excuse me. For the first game, I do lean the over in the first half. I think we'll see defense in the second half. I think we'll see a slower paced game in the second half as well between the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat. But I think initially we see a lot of points first quarter, first half in that game. Also, I think there's a correlation between Trae Young potentially going under his points and DeJounte Murray going over his points. I also think that Jimmy Butler could see the double team the same way that Trae Young does when he plays against Atlanta. And I also lean with game over the 6.5 assists for Jimmy Butler tonight. And then I also talked about Bam. I'm sorry, I keep saying Bam. Clint Capella to go over his 9.5 points. It just kind of feels like he's going over this number in every single game. And typically that's not enough for me to kind of play it. But I kind of feel like he knows how to rim run against this team. It feels like in my estimation. So I do lean Capella to go over his points, but just because he's hit it every single time is not enough for me to play it. I hope that makes sense. Some people, see hit rates and they like, yeah, I'm just play it. So I will be watching this game. Like I said, both of the games throughout their entirety. And if I find anything that I really love, like I said, I'll tweet it out. But first half over in the Atlanta and Miami game, total was 116.5. DeJounte Murray over his 19.5 points. Jimmy Butler over his 6.5 assists. Clint Capella over his 9.5 points. And like Dream mentioned yesterday, I think Trae Young goes under the 24.5 points as well. But I didn't bet any of those if I'm being transparent with you guys. In the second game, like I said, AD points plus rebounds will be my look. Just because I feel like not only will he be scoring, but he's also been rebounding the ball really efficiently, really effectively. No Rudy Gobert equals more rebound opportunities for him as well. So I will probably look at his points plus rebounds together. On the opposite side, I mentioned Mike Conley, probably my favorite player prop of the day, man. Over his 2.5 threes. I think the Timberwolves even going to keep this game close. It's going to be because other guys that we don't necessarily anticipate to step up. It can't just be Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards tonight. They're going to need, all hands on deck that they absolutely have in this game when you don't have, Jalen McDaniels and Rudy Gobert. So I really like Mike Conley to go over his 3-point prop. 2.5 is plus 136 early. I think it's down to 132 right now. So, and that's it. Tomorrow we have 2 more games. And like I said, the live part that I mentioned, if I see anything that I absolutely love live, like I said, it'll be an end of a quarter, end of a half, and I will tweet those things out to you guys as well. I I will not tweet those out. I'll add them to the member only chat over on YouTube as well. Anybody interested in becoming a member, $2.99 a month will get you a lot of perks, but the $5.99 a month will get you the live plays and all the other looks just before everybody else gets them as well. Truala said Peace King, Minnesota upset LA tonight. Cat goes crazy. Okay. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but anything's possible for sure. Anything is possible for sure. Tomorrow I'll be back. Won't be doing a morning show, but I will be back tomorrow to kind of break down the two games, other two playing games. Those are the ones that have a big sense of desperation, which is why you see the money start to come in on the unders. And last thing I'll mention, 6 playing games last year, all 6 of them went under. All 6 playing games went under. That was the 7 and 8 seed, and then the 9 and 10 seed, and then whatever game happened after that. All 6 of those games went under last year. So, real sense of desperation when your season is on the line, like Chicago and Toronto's is tomorrow, and OKC and New Orleans as well. So, I'll get into a breakdown of those games tomorrow. We'll see if we can still find any value on the board as far as player props, as far as size and totals. And I appreciate everybody for tapping in today. Best of luck on your action for today. And I'm out.